General, thank you for joining me from Cairo. What did you make of, there you have a uniformed general making this declaration? That doesn't look much like anything other than a coup.
No, definitely it's not a coup. And let me tell you first that I'm carrying a message from many Egyptians who knows that I'm coming today and talk to you, that you put in the subtitle on the CNN that it's a military coup for hours. Let me tell you, it's not a military coup. Military coup meaning that the military will rule the country. And General Sisi mentioned many times that he has no intention whatsoever to rule the country. That's number one. Number two, this is not actually what the army came because of the will of the Egyptians, meaning that the opposition groups and rebels, young people group, as well as 30 million Egyptians came out in the street, which is the largest, and I repeat that, the largest ever in the modern history, a kind of demonstration at any country. And Egyptians are making a new revolution.
All right, well, that's exactly how, yes, that is exactly how you see it and how millions of people in the streets see it. But what do you make of, for instance, the Morsi faction who will say that the military has taken sides? The military has sided with the anti-presidency, with those who are against the Muslim Brotherhood. And do you fear that this could lead to further divisions, given that there is a large number of people in Egypt who actually support the president?
I don't think so. Number one, the majority of the Egyptians, they need to change the administration, the regime, the existing regime, because they see it as a new fascism in Egypt. This is what we call new Islamic fascism in Egypt. So the point is, the people get really, they're really upset from what happens to their country. The services are very poor, as you know, not only like that, but economy is poor, economy is unstable, security is unstable, and Morsi succeeded to split the Egyptians to two groups. And not only two groups, because he mentioned in his speech that it's normal at any democratic country to split the people to two groups with the president or against the president. The point is not like that. The two groups in Egypt now, they look at each other as if they are enemies. So they are fighting each other. The point is the people who came in the street and say no to Morsi, they didn't carry any weapons, swords or knives, as just like the other group do. In fact, yesterday, after the speech, I have seen by myself, I was in the media city, coming from the media city to Cairo, I have seen many of them with long beards, carrying weapons, trying to stop people and stealing their money and doing something against them.
General, as you know very well,
that's why.
General, as you know very well, there were about 23 people killed. We understand something like 16 of those were pro-Morsi demonstrators. So let's just have that clear. But let me ask you this. You know, we've seen this picture before, General. We've had you on our air before. We had 17 months of military rule, and then we had the people in huge numbers come out in Cairo, around Egypt, to ask for the military to go back to their barracks, and that is something that President Morsi did. So how can we be assured? I know you're going to tell me again that the military is not ruling the country, but they have installed who they want to install. So how do you think that this period of military rule, no matter how you want to call it, is going to go? What can they really do? How long will it be before there are more elections?
Right. I believe it's going to be between 9 to 12 months. I think there will be another announcement tomorrow for this period. I believe as well that, it's not believe, I can assure you and assure the audience that the army will not be involved at all in the new political life of the Egyptians, as well as they have no intention to rule the country again, as I mentioned before. The difference between SCAF and this period is a big difference. SCAF were ruling the country, were administrating the country, and they have control. This time, they have no intention to do that, and you will not see them controlling the country or ruling the country. The point is, they want to put order in the street, to make life easy for the Egyptians and to make life easy for the head of the Constitutional Court to rule Egypt in this period. The point is, the Egyptians, they want that. People, they were against the SCAF during the 18 months, the first 18 months of the revolution. Right now, they say, sorry, please come back again to the street, put order in the street because the country is out of control. So the point is, again, this is the will of the Egyptians.
General, stand by a second. I'll be right back to you. But first, I want to go down to Ben Wiedemann, who's joining me live from a pro-Morsi rally in Nasser City, which is a suburb of Cairo. Ben, what is the reaction there?
Well, what was interesting, Christian, was that the loudspeaker system did broadcast Sisi's speech over the broadcast system here, and very quickly into it, people started to boo and jeer that speech. And then we heard chants coming up from the crowd of "down with military rule," something the Muslim Brotherhood never chanted during the 17 months when the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces was in power. So now we have a very angry crowd here in Al-Raba Al-Adawiya, which is the main or rather pro-Morsi demonstration here in Cairo. And we understand that there are military vehicles stationed at the main entrances to this area around us, but as far as we know, there are no reports yet of any problems between the soldiers and the crowd here.
Ben, thank you. I'm going to go now to Ivan Watson, who's at the anti-Morsi rallies near Tahrir Square.
Hey, do you have pictures we just put in of the soldiers?
Ivan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ivan?
Yeah.
What is the reaction there? What is the reaction? You're on the air. What is the reaction of the people after General Sisi's address?
You know, the moment that the announcement was made that the Constitution was being suspended, a roar erupted here in Tahrir Square behind me, and the fireworks have been going on nonstop since then. And not just in Tahrir Square, but I was stunned from this 22nd floor to see fireworks also going off in other neighborhoods across Cairo on both sides of the Nile River. Just an explosion of celebration that is probably not being shared just about 2-3 kilometers from where I'm sitting right now, in front of the University of Cairo, where there is a camp of at the very least thousands of supporters of Mohamed Morsi who have gathered behind barricades. That was the scene of deadly clashes last night between pro and anti-Morsi activists. At least 18 people killed there. And about an hour ago, I was at the barricades there, and those people saying they will not stand for what they're describing as a military coup, that they will stay and die for Mohamed Morsi. And even more striking was that moments beforehand, soldiers had deployed, hundreds of Egyptian soldiers, hundreds of Special Forces police, setting up a cordon around that area, a couple of hundred meters away from the Morsi supporters, and that they had lined up there in the event a police chief warned me of violence upon hearing this announcement made by Egypt's top military commander. So while we're seeing these scenes of jubilation here, playing out on this side of the Nile River, on the other side, I imagine, a very different scene. And what was even more striking, Christian, seeing soldiers and police down on the ground praying on their knees before this announcement was made, perhaps in a sign of solidarity with their Muslim comrades and fellow countrymen, and perhaps in anticipation of what they feared could be violence in the hours ahead. Christian?
Ivan, before I let you go, clearly there has been a lot of conflicting reporting with a lot of inaccurate reporting from the Al Ahram newspaper, which basically said that this announcement would be made by a group of civilians. It wasn't. It was made by the top military general. How do you think that goes down amongst these people who told me very clearly yesterday that they are not calling for a coup, they don't want the military to step in, they just want Morsi out?
You know, Christian, it's all the more stunning when you consider that a little bit more than a year ago, the crowds here were hurling insults at the military, and now they seem overjoyed that the military is leading this action to suspend the Constitution. I talked to one young man, a university student, very close on the bridge that the Egyptian soldiers had blocked off over the Nile River, and he said to me, of course this is a military coup, but I want it. I'm afraid of the Muslim Brotherhood, and I want the soldiers to protect me from them because I think they want blood. That is the opinion of one supporter of this action, and I'd say many of the young men and women that I passed were cheering the arrival of the Egyptian soldiers. It's striking to see what a transition and transformation we've seen of public opinion over the course of the last year.
Ivan, thank you. And we're going to